Hey guys, so I've been playing the shit out of Star Fox Zero lately, and I really like it. Even got all the medals and unlocked the Retro R-Wing without needing some stupid amiibo. It's pretty fun to use. And yes, I think the motion controls are quite good. I can see someone with shaky hands having trouble with this game, but yeah, I don't know what to tell them. Oh well. Anyway, I still think people are being unreasonably hard on this game. In fact, I'd say it's right up there with Star Fox 64 in terms of quality. But I'm not here to talk about this game. I'm here to talk about the next Star Fox game, because you know they're going to make another one someday. It may not be for another 5 or 10 years, and it might end up being completely different, but for right now, here's a list of things I want to see incorporated into a new Star Fox title. First off, I'd like to see something that takes place a while after Zero. Maybe 2 years, shall we say. Not so long after the Lylat Wars that the team had become irrelevant and fallen on hard times like in Adventures, as much as I like that idea. This way you could have something stylistically in line with Zero, while still advancing the story a little bit. The villain of this new game should not be Andross if it can be helped. I think bringing Andross back over and over again just gets comical after a while. It was perfectly fine in Zero since that's supposed to be a fresh start, but I'd like to see a new villain rise up in this next game. The consequences of Andross' actions and death would be felt by many, including Andrew, his nephew, who'd probably have a serious vendetta against the Star Fox team after Andross' defeat in Zero. At this point, I think he should still be a member of Star Wolf, but maybe he could commence some warships of his own, leading them from his Wolfen or something similar. Maybe there could be such a stage where you take down a bunch of his forces, then fight Andrew himself and his fighter. One thing I really liked about Star Fox Command, and to some degree Star Fox 2, was seeing every character get their own ship. In Command, every member of Star Fox and Star Wolf gets a unique new ship that fits their character. I'd like to see another crack at that in a new game, with characters like Falco, Slippy, and Peppy being playable in their own custom R-Wings, though for the most part, these ships would all function very similarly. They'd all have a walker mode, they'd all have a boost meter, lasers, you get the picture. That said, they could still have some unique attributes. Some could have a longer lasting boost gauge than others, some could take less damage, some could be faster in walker mode, what have you. Perhaps Falco could, like the Black R-Wing unlocked by his amiibo, be able to fire 2 charge shots at once, though the lasers would have a cap to balance things out. Or Slippy could start out with more bombs, or another character could start every level with twin green lasers, but they just don't get the blue laser. I for one think it would be hilarious if Peppy piloted a ship based on the original R-Wing, with a long cheese wedge fuselage, dinky wings, and the old school blue engines from the SNES artwork that look like assault engines pried apart. It could be joked in the game that they look like bunny ears. Perhaps the ship could perform like the Retro R-Wing in Zero, unable to lock on but firing pretty powerful charge shots. Now though we get to the real nitty-gritty. After seeing everything else it took from Star Fox 2 and put in this game, I want to see a game featuring Faye Spaniel and Miu Lynx. These two characters have so much potential that it sucks not to see them appear in any game since. There is so much great fan art of these characters by people who want to see them come back, and can you blame them? They're fun characters that would add a lot of variety and spunk to an already charismatic team. I think a new Star Fox Zero-S game would be the ideal time for these two to make an appearance. Faye would probably sound something like Penelope from the Sly series, nerdy but cute and just a little crazy, while Miu would probably sound something like Faye Valentine from Cowboy Bebop, I don't know. And yes, I think these characters as well should be playable. I think at the start of the game, Faye should be introduced as a newest member of the Star Fox team, taking cues from the rest of them during a training sequence. Well, yeah, I like the training sequence in Star Fox 64, right? And the new training segment in Zero is pretty good. Maybe a new game could feature Fox, who's like the coolest guy ever in Faye's eyes, taking point and showing her the ropes, flying ahead and saying things like, "Can you keep up?" or "Follow me through these rings, Faye." Then at the end of the sequence, which would be entirely skippable for experienced players, the player would then switch from Faye to Fox for a time, and the real first stage begins. Personally, though, I wouldn't want the first stage to be Corneria. I think a new installment should begin with another world being invaded, like Paptoon or something. Broaden the scope of things a bit, you know? After this, you'd mainly play as Fox for a few stages, though you'd unlock other characters now and then. At the end of one mission, where Slippy plays an important role, you'd unlock him and have the option to play as him in future stages, or replay earlier stages and see if there's some that he could find that the other members of Star Fox wouldn't see. And then you'd unlock Falco, then Peppy, and Faye, all with their own little tricks and dialogue. Similarly, I think Miu should appear early on in the game as the newest member of Star Wolf, just a showy girl falling in with a tough crowd. I think in this mission, only 4 of the 5 members of each team should appear, to keep things from getting too complicated and hectic. In this case, all of Star Wolf would appear, save Wolf, though he'd still appear in a later stage after some build-up. In this stage, I think after a certain amount of time, Miu will corner one of the other characters, say Slippy or Faye, only to take pity on them and she decides to let them go. Then another member of Star Wolf will say Pigma or Andrew would pull a fast one, saying something like, "What do you think you're doing? Shoot that stupid pup!" or Toad, etc. and then we'd have the classic rescue operation to save that character on some hostile alien planet. The Star Fox gang flees the scene to track down their fallen comrade, leaving Miu shocked by the brutality her teammates have displayed. However, let's say things play out a little differently, and you end up shooting Miu down and the other members of Star Wolf abandon her. Maybe one of the members of Star Fox could feel kinda bad after seeing that and you'd go down to the planet to rescue Miu. In both these scenarios, you fly down to whatever planet the character was lost on, and depending on how the previous battle goes, Miu would either appear near the end of the stage to assist you, or she'd be the one waiting in the boss's clutches. In one scenario, say the one where she assists in another character's rescue, she'd say something like, "You guys are pretty cool, glad I could help out even if we're supposed to be enemies." Then Fox or Falco or someone could say, "We don't need to be enemies, you know. You sure don't act like a member of Star Wolf." And soon after, she'd join the team and paint her engines blue. However, if she was the one you had to rescue, she may be shocked to see the team, and still mad about being shot down, and leave to catch up with Star Wolf as soon as she had the chance, before you could talk things out with her. So in one of these scenarios, she'd join your team right away, while in another one, you'd have to wait a few more stages until your next encounter with Star Wolf, and by then, something else would happen that puts her at odds with them. See, if you go back to replay that earlier stage as Miu, or just have Miu on the team, well then Wolf himself would come and fill her spot on the other team, so you'd still have 4 members of Star Wolf, and he'd comment on her betraying the team just like that. Pitiful. And of course your second encounter with Star Wolf would play out differently if Miu had joined your team by then as well. This could even affect Andrew's involvement in things, as he's torn between leading his own Venomian forces in other places and having to fill in for Miu and Star Wolf. Now though, we get to another aspect of playing as the other Star Fox team members. Let's say you could choose 3 out of your 4 or 5 teammates to tag along with you, sort of like the way you would choose which navigator you want to assist you in any given stage in Mega Man X8. Or heck, you could just go it solo and leave them on the Great Fox if you want, but then you wouldn't get to hear that good old comm chatter or get bonus points at the end of the stage for keeping your teammates healthy in the field. And just like the way those 3 navigators each focus on different aspects of a level, such as Layer helping you find a boss or other enemies' weak points, or Palette helping you find hidden goodies, the different members of Star Fox could help you in different ways. Some could notice secrets that the other characters wouldn't, or one may figure out how to beat a boss and give it away to the player. The player would still be able to do most of this stuff even if the other teammates weren't there. It'd be kinda stupid if a character was mandatory to unlock a second route, though I guess there could be a few stretches where you have to keep them alive to a certain point to do that. I mean, they did it in Star Fox 64 and it wasn't that offensive. One of the benefits of bringing these other wingmates along would be special items that each one drops now and then. One thing I like about Star Fox Assault is that sometimes other characters would give you bombs or rings to help you out. In this game, they do that too. Falco could give you bombs, Slippy or Faye could give you a laser upgrade, Peppy could give you silver rings, and Miu could give you golden rings. So on top of whichever characters happen to be your favorites, the items they drop would also be a big factor in who you want to bring along. Maybe when you're playing as someone else, Fox could drop one of those special X-shaped rings just before the boss or something. And of course this would affect comm chatter as well, as some conversations would only play out based on which characters you brought along. I could so easily see Falco and Miu out-snarking each other, it'd be amazing, and maybe Peppy could tell stories of past battles he's being reminded of that other characters would get invested in or be outright dismissive of depending on who it is. Maybe Peppy could give you a ring for listening to his story. Or heck, let's say you're playing as Peppy and he shouts barrel roll like he does in that one stage in Zero. After you do it a few times, Miu would shout, "That's not a barrel roll, you silly coot, that's just spinning around all fancy like." And of course, whoever you lay the finishing blow on the final boss with could get their own special spin on the ending and maybe a final snapshot of them on vacation or something. Now for other vehicles. The Landmaster doesn't really need to see any changes. I love the way it plays in Zero with the Gravmaster upgrade and the missiles it shoots. However, I would like to see some laser upgrades placed in the Landmaster levels, maybe in places that would be pretty tricky to reach without the Gravmaster upgrade. And these could upgrade your laser or the blast radius of your missiles when they explode. But we also need a third gameplay style or vehicle in these games, don't we? So with that in mind, I want to see the Blue Marine brought back. I know a lot of people don't care much for the Blue Marine, but I find it a lot easier to use than the Gyro-Wing, and I've always loved the Aqua stage, how haunting and mysterious and otherworldly it is. However, if the Blue Marine was brought back, I think the stage should play out a bit differently, with more dynamic camera angles and at least slightly faster paced, diving into a set piece on par with the Mariana Trench or just crazy underwater terrain in general. Star in the shallows with some beautiful coral reefs, some alien aquascaping, just do something to spice up the place. Maybe the Blue Marine could also have a walker or a tank-like mode of its own to trudge along the ocean floor with in some stretches. I think what really hurts a Gyro-Wing, as innovative as it is what a huge departure it is from how Star Fox vehicles typically handle. The Blue Marine and the Landmaster to an extent is basically the same as the R-Wing. You're still being propelled forward on the rails constantly and shooting at stuff. It's the same, just underwater. While I would like to see a variety of R-Wings though, I think there only needs to be one type of Landmaster or Blue Marine, since they typically only appear in a stage or two, and we don't want to complicate things too much. Let's talk about some more levels though. I think Zero has a good amount of stages. There's still a few that are left out though. We could still see worlds like Aquis, Katna, Saria, Solar, or Macbeth reimagined in Zero's new style. Or maybe we could see different level types on some of the worlds we've already visited. For example, why not have a linear on-rail stage on Vecina? That would be a first. Maybe with a blizzard raging overhead that's keeping the others at bay, sort of like an assault, with a Landmaster plowing through caves and canyons, with avalanches and cave-ins being a constant danger. Or maybe a stage on Soria. I mean, we know that this place is a thing in this reboot. The crew mentioned finishing a job there just recently in the anime special, so I can't really see them not wanting to do something with it in a future game. It's a cool planet. You could do a lot of stuff with it. Maybe you could approach this with both the Arwing and the Landmaster, uncovering different secrets with each. You could shoot at the invaders while avoiding hitting the dinosaurs, who should be able to take a fair number of hits just to keep things from getting annoying. Maybe you get a mission accomplished if you manage not to harm a single dinosaur. There could be a really big one like an Apatosaurus covered in enemy drones, like that one fleeing ship on Corneria you can save, and you have to free the big guy or girl, whatever. Maybe this could be where the Blue Marine comes in, as you dive into Saria's oceans to take on prehistoric monsters like giant sea scorpions and stuff. Maybe one of your encounters with Starwolf could be in space, near Solar, giving the stage an epic feel. Or heck, just give us some new worlds to explore. They made a bunch of new sectors in Zero, and I like the space ring in Area 3. Maybe we should see some new planets added to the Lylat system. Lastly, I'd like to see Fox himself show a bit more personality. For all the problems Adventures had, I think it's probably the best portrayal of Fox McCloud to date. He's so abrasive and touchy. It makes him flawed while showing his drive to just get the job done one way or another. It makes him feel more rough, like the mercenary he's purported to be, and not just General Pepper's favorite squeaky clean Boy Scout. They kind of build it up in some of these games that Fox sees Pepper as a sort of surrogate father, though you'd think Peppy would be a better fit for that role. I don't know. I just want to see the years of war wearing Fox down a little bit. I just want to see him show more grit. Point is, there's a lot of things you could do in a new Star Fox game that have yet to be seen. I don't expect this video to go anywhere, but thanks for taking the time to hear me out. I hope you like some of these ideas too. For all the ways Nintendo is super determined to change things up with every Star Fox game they release, I think these are some good ways that they could do that without completely alienating players. I will say, Star Fox Zero does have me worried that the series may be arrested in the nostalgia of its past. This game is to Star Fox 64 what that game is to the original Super Nintendo game. Not so much a remake as a reimagining, a new beginning. But I like seeing the characters age and fall on hard times throughout the other games, and I'm worried that we may never see them come that far again. That the next time Nintendo releases a new Star Fox game, it'll basically be another Star Fox Zero, where we yet again save Corneria at the beginning and fight Andross at the end, or at least in terms of its tone. And the thought of that makes me kind of sad because I do want to see the series evolve. Time will tell, I guess. Another note, sorry guys, but it's gonna take me a while to get to that Metroid Prime Trilogy review. I'm gonna try to use my own footage for this one, so, I gotta play all 3 games. But before I even get to that, I need to sort out some paperwork that'll hopefully get my book off the ground, so I'm gonna focus on that for a couple of weeks. When I do get back to reviewing games though, the next one on my list after Metroid Prime and Aquaria is, you guessed it, Star Fox Zero. See you then. Doodles!